Hello, I'm Guillaume. I'm the Corporate Wine Program Manager for STK. Today we are in STK downtown in the Meatpacking in New York City. And we will talk about 23 of wines we carry by the glass. Sparkling, bubbles, rosé, white and red, with all their stories, smells, flavors, tasting notes, etc. I will go through everything with you to make sure you can pair the right wine with the right dish. Prosecco Cavalier d'Oro, product of Italy. Prosecco, it's one of the most popular bottles in a restaurant in America. Why? Only because it's a way to drink bubbles for a cheaper price than champagne. Why? Only because the gas is manually added during the winemaking process, and it's CO2. It's not natural like his grandbrother, the champagne, but we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the grape. The grape here is called Glera. Nobody knows about Glera because everybody just asks for the Prosecco. And sometimes when you tell your table the name of the grape, 99% of the time, they're like, oh, really? I didn't know that. That grape, let's say it's a very dry grape, kind of Italian Sauvignon Blanc, I would say. So we're gonna have acidity, some citrus, and a very fresh taste and feeling. The soil in north part of Italy, where the Prosecco is coming from, is composed of limestone. So again, this is why the Prosecco is dry. Menu-wise, the good thing with bubbles is that it's a good pairing with everything. You can have bubbles with seafood, with a salad, even with a steak if you want to, white meat like our Amish chicken, or you can also just finish your meal with some bubbles and having some of our desserts. If you are not hungry and you don't want to eat anything, that's fine. Just drink it by itself. It's a really good happy hour drink, especially for the ladies. Let's talk about business now. Let's talk about how you can upsell your tables and how you can push some bubbles. Every single table, when they got sat, they got that little sheet from Open Table with the notes. When you see birthday, celebration, anniversary, engagement, push for bubbles, push for bubbles. Sometimes people want to go for cocktails. They want to go for liquors in general. Having them drinking sparkling, it's not as strong as a liquor, so they can drink more, and you won't have some people having too much alcohol at the table. So they can drink longer, and if they drink longer, they keep spending money. This is all about having wine instead of liquor sometimes. Let's share with you 3 keywords. It's dry, it's citrusy, celebration. Chandon Rosé, sparkling wine from California, America. But long story short, you are allowed to call champagne a sparkling wine only if you are in France, in the region of Champagne. Here, unfortunately, it's not the case. This is why, for legal purposes, they are not allowed to put the word champagne. So, the big company called Moet et Chandon decided to go to see what's going on in California and to try to do a sparkling wine. So this one is exactly made the same way like in champagne. The only difference is, again, it's a question of appellation. So this is la méthode champenoise. That's why it's called. Which means that it's not like the Prosecco, for example, where we add the CO2 in an artificial way in the factory. This is méthode champenoise, which means that the bubbles are coming from the winemaking process itself during the fermentation in the bottle. If you want to know exactly what the different steps are for the sparkling winemaking, you can go to the video on the website. So let's talk about the product itself. Grape, first of all, we have a mix of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Tasting notes, you will have some cherry, strawberries, and a little bit of watermelon, which brings freshness to the palate. Regarding the pairing with our food, I would say sparkling wine is a good pairing with everything. Salad, steaks, white meat, sweets, or just by itself if you're not hungry. This is very easy to drink, and it's pink, so keep in mind, celebration, Valentine's Day, for example, you can recommend to a couple a little bit of pink bubbles. Talking about the wallet, very quick, it's like the Prosecco. It's cheaper than champagne. Why? Because of the appellation itself. Again, it's not coming from France, and the winemaking process is a little bit more easy than the regular champagne. This is why it's cheaper. 3 keywords for the Chandon Rosé. The grape, Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. The notes, strawberry, cherry, watermelon, which brings a little sweetness to the taste. And last thing is selling point, celebration. It still bubbles. Valentine's Day. Look, it's pink. Champagne Veuve Clicquot, yellow label, from France. This is champagne. This is coming from France. And believe it or not, it's one of the most famous wine in the world, but it's only 1% of the international production. What is Champagne? Champagne is a northeast of France wine region. Let's talk about the Champagne itself. Veuve Clicquot-Ponsardin, widow Clicquot-Ponsardin, Clicquot-Ponsardin being the last names. She's a lady. Unfortunately, her husband passed away, and right after this, instead of just taking a break on the champagne making, she decided to take over. And a lot of people from the champagne business at this time was a little worried about the future of the brand. Guess what? She's now one of the most famous French lady in the world, because on top of keeping the business alive, she also made it grow. On top of creating the blend to create pink champagne, the Champagne Rosé. And on top of it, she's also the one who decided to create different sizes for bottles. From the Magnum to the Jéroboam to the Salmanazar, there is a lot more. The Champagne region is using only 3 grapes: Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay. This champagne right here is a blend of the 3. So let's talk about tasting notes. The Chardonnay, he will bring a butter side, a creamy side. So in your mouth, it's something very heavy. But also, there is a very clean acidity coming from the Pinot Meunier. And now on top of it, you have the Pinot Noir, who will bring, with being blended with the Chardonnay, kind of a green apple. Again, I'm giving you notes to share with your customers, but this is also very personal, whatever you can feel. But most of the time, this is what you have in a Veuve Clicquot glass. How to sell this champagne? Again, celebration. Okay, 3 keywords for that bottle. Number 1, the grape, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay. Number 2, the tasting notes. We have cream and butter. We have green apple and a clean acidity. Number 3, how we sell that? Again, celebration, but this time it's a special celebration because it's more expensive than the Prosecco or a regular sparkling wine. This is kind of exclusive, more expensive. A glass of Prosecco is around $15. This is at least $25. Champagne Rosé, pink champagne, Moet et Chandon. From France, champagne. Champagne sparkling wine rosé from France. Moet et Chandon is the biggest luxury brand in the world. And Moet et Chandon is also a very, very popular house of champagne in France. Also, they have a big marketing budget. So you can see those bottles in movies, on the sidewalk, on commercials, on TV, everywhere. Why? Just because this is a really good champagne. Again, the tasting notes. We have wild berries like strawberries. We have cherry, only because this is the same grape as the regular champagne. Again, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay. So you have on top of it, because it's pink, you have a little bit of pepper and rose petals flavors. And on the late finish, you have a little hint of pepper, but let's say overall, it's a little sweeter than the regular Brut Veuve Clicquot we also have by the glass. The sparkling wine being pink is also a little fancy. So if you do have some sophisticated clients celebrating promotion or something like a big event, like not a regular birthday, but let's say a 30th birthday or a 21st birthday, go for pink. It's a little bit more fancy again than just a regular Brut champagne. And yeah, it's almost the same price, but I would say for a rosé cuvée, it's always a nice 25% more expensive. Wine pairing, you know, the bubbles goes for everything, without food as well. But yeah, sweets, salad, seafood, steaks, white meat. 3 keywords for this bottle. The same blend for all the champagne, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay. We are on wild berries again, but let's talk about peach, rose, and that little hint of pepper at the end. How you sell that bottle, how you upsell those tables. A celebration again, but a special one. Bricot Tondo Moscato d'Asti, product of Italy. We've been working with the 4 sparklings, the Prosecco, Chandon Rosé, the Moet Rosé, and the Veuve Brut for quite a while now. And it has been noticed that we have a lot of demand for something sweet, like a dessert wine, but sparkling. So in 2020, we added this Moscato d'Asti, which is very popular only because it's very light, only 5% of alcohol instead of 12 for a regular sparkling wine. And it's very soft, it's very sweet. So you can easily push this wine everywhere. At every single table, you may have somebody that wants some sweetness in their bubbles. North of Italy, in the name Moscato d'Asti, Asti is a village. Moscato is the grape, it's 100% Moscato. It's a very sweet grape. And it's like the Prosecco because the sparkling, the gas in the bottle is coming, it's CO2, artificially added again. So tasting notes. Because of the Moscato being a sweet grape, a soft grape, you will be on orange flavors with a little bit of honey. And again, the bubbles are like very soft, very easy to drink. So if we have a table who wants some desserts, dessert wine, and they don't drink that much and they don't want to drink more because they already got 2 cocktails or maybe a glass of wine, but you still want to sell some beverage, this is the perfect deal because again, we are on 5% alcohol. So it's like a cider. My message is somebody that wants to go easy on the end of the meal, this is what you should drink. 3 keywords for this wine. 100% Moscato, this is the grape. Second, the tasting notes, honey, orange, soft bubbles. It's flying in your mouth. And then third, light drinkers at the end of the meal. Oh no, I already got 2 cocktails, I'm okay. Miss, it's only 5% alcohol, you're good. Oh, all right then, I'll go for it. We have 2 rosé wine on the Wine by the Glass list. And one is from France and one is from Paso Robles in California. So the Justin is the Californian one, and it's made with the south of France style. What I want to say is the biggest production of rosé wine in the world is coming from the south of France. For now, 20 years, we see a lot more wine producers from California coming up with their rosé. You always start with a Cab or with like a Merlot, and then you do a Pinot Noir. You also do your whites, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc. But the rosé, it's only like it's a young wine from the New World, from America. And this one, so is the Justin. So the Justin is, I won't say sweet, but the weather in California is pretty sunny, especially in Paso Robles. So the grapes, because they have all this sun all day, they're gonna get a little smaller and a lot of sugar is gonna come into the grapes. So after, during the winemaking process, all this sugar is becoming alcohol and sweetness. So we are talking about a wine, a strong rosé, a little bit sweeter than the regular Provence, south of France style we usually have. If you talk about the notes, we have some rose, we have some tropical fruits. It's very light, it's very floral. Rosé wine, Vivité, Côte de Provence, product of France. We have only two rosé on the list. The one from California, Justin, and the other one from the south of France is the one, Vivité. It's very famous because of the area. The south of France, called the Provence, is the most well-known area to make rosé in the world. This is very fresh, this is very light. Also, in Provence, the only difference between the Justin and this one would be the sweetness, only because the weather in California is warmer than the weather we have in the south of France. The south of France is also warm, but there is a lot of wind, instead of California, where the weather is very dry and not as much rain as the south of France. I would say a summertime wine, but you can drink this all year long, depending on which mood you are on. This wine is coming from the south of France, the south of the Rhône Valley, and we have Grenache, Syrah, Cinsault, and a little bit of Carignan. The little story about rosé is that most of the people like to drink it during summer. So what they do is they take a wine glass and they put a lot of ice inside and they drink it by the pool or on a rooftop, for example, in the middle of July, and they just enjoy it the way it is. If you really want to eat some food with the rosé, I will go for something like a summer dish. So what do we have for the summer dishes? We have a lot of salads on our menus, but also you can just go for light meat, like our chicken. Could be a very good and very nice pairing with the rosé. 3 keywords: the grape, Cinsault, Grenache, Syrah, and a little bit of Carignan. Second is the tasting notes, like the Justin, like the other one we have. We are on strawberries, sherry, and it's a floral body. And then number 3, how to sell this wine? South of France, a little bit more expensive, so more money in your pocket.